Hey gang, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I may have shown, or I did show in a video on Joe Daddy's Garage page, that I bought a new Osmo camera. And that's what this camera is that I'm using right now and what I'm filming this with. Now this camera has a gimbal on it, has tracking and various functions on it that I think are pretty cool. And so far I've been kind of on the fence whether I really like this camera or not. I've done some footage that I'm very happy with, and I've had some footage that I'm very displeased with. And so I've been trying to learn more about this camera and trying to develop ways to use it that it makes sense. So as you can see, I can walk with this camera and it's going to track my face as I extend my arm out left and right. And today what I want to do is something called motion lapse. Now I'm going to set the camera up on a tripod and I'm going to mow my yard. And I'm going to set the camera up with a timer and also a motion function so that you can see me mowing the yard in a time-lapse manner, but also the camera is going to pan throughout the yard. Part of this video will also be filmed on my Canon HFR 800, Canon Vixia. This is what I do the bulk of my filming with, and again, the Osmo is just an additional tool in my camera inventory. So I'm going to get set up, I'll get the mower out, and I'll set the camera up basically right in front of my house, and I will try to set all the parameters for making this little video. So earlier this year I did a review type video on this Aaron's Icon X 52-inch zero-turn mower, and I also did an oil change on it. And so you may want to go back and look at that video, give you some information on it. And I later did a video where I sharpened the blades on this mower, and I'm still very happy with it, very satisfied with it. And this may be the last mow this year, I'm not sure yet. Of course it's the end of September and temperatures are high here in Georgia. And we had some rain last week, so the grass has taken off a little bit, and it needs cut. So I'm going to get set up and try to get the lawn cut and show you this motion lapse video. Now I'm going to try to capture the functions of this camera by holding my Canon. And basically if I hold down this right button here, the camera powers up, and it self-leveling. So even if I have my tripod off a little bit, it's going to basically set itself to level. Now, alright, so I have a little DJI set up on a tripod. It just has a simple little clamp base I got off of Amazon. I'm going to push this right button and hold it down. Camera is ready to go in about 5 seconds. Okay, so well, it already said focusing failed. I don't know if you saw that or not, but that's been an issue and I'm having trouble dealing with that. Power it back up. Okay, it does not say focusing failed. So I'm going to swipe to the right, and it can be photo, video, slow-mo. In this case I'm going to do time-lapse. So I'm going to click on that. And then there's a way you can set down here in the bottom. It says how many seconds you want. So if I click on that, I can choose how much of an interval. So I'm going to set it for 4 seconds, and then duration, I guess I'll set it for, well, 2 hours. Okay, so you cannot believe how many times that I want to throw this camera. I have had some great footage with this camera, and I have had some horrible footage with this camera. As you can see, the motion lapse that I did turned out terrible. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't be focused. I even had to hook up my phone to set up the parameters for motion lapse, and still it didn't do what it was supposed to do. So now it took me about, I don't know, 5 minutes to get this function to work properly. And I don't know what's going on. I don't understand it, Osmo. I mean, everybody has done reviews on this. There's been feedback on this. There's been updates on this. And I'm fighting with it. And I'm fighting with it even right now. I'm like this far away from just showing you how much impact one of these Osmo cameras can take, because it's very frustrating. I did get the front yard mode, and I'm going to try to set up the camera again and do another motion lapse in a smaller area with a faster rate, and hopefully I can show you that there is a chance that you can get good quality out of these cameras, because it does. In my other video on my main page, I did a time lapse or motion lapse installing hood hinges on a Mustang. Turned out great, but like today, I don't get it. I'm out here in the bright sun, started the system, and out of focus from the start. So I'm going to try again and see if I can't get something better. Okay, so that second video had more clarity. It was better looking, and I know it's pretty fast. Maybe I can slow that down a little bit, but as you can see, there's a difference. Now, I haven't really changed the parameters. You know, I'm still using the same functions on the camera, putting the same inputs in, but for some reason, it's just not doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to go a little bit further and show you how I set this camera up using my Canon camera to try to show you the stuff on the screen. It might be a little tricky, but I just want to show you what I'm doing, and maybe you can recognize or say, hey, I see you're doing something wrong. So let me see if I can do that. Okay, so I have a little Osmo right here. Now I'll point out a couple things. There's a little microphone hole right here, and apparently there's one on the bottom as well, right there. You can kind of see it, maybe. Little hole right there. And this has the, I think it's called USB-C input, or charger. And then this is the attachment for the iPhone, but when you don't use the iPhone, you turn it around. So I'm just going to push this, slide that off, and if I want to use the iPhone, I slide that back into that slot. See if I can see it, and that makes it function. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to try to show you some things without the iPhone attached. I'm going to put it in the little carrier that I have right here, and it's just that little square thing. I think I showed it earlier, but I'm going to put it in the carrier and attach it to the tripod. And now you can see, hopefully see, maybe I can angle this a little bit better, some of the screen and also the buttons. Now I've been struggling with this thing for a couple weeks now, and I just don't get it. I don't understand why it can be so hard. So let me show you this. I'm going to hit this lower button here. This powers up the button and makes the gimbal go through its motions and puts it on its level plane. So I'm going to hit that, hold that down for a second. Alright, so there it comes up with the screen. Now there's been many occasions where it's come up and it says focusing failed right here at the top. That's very frustrating. I don't know why that is, and I will point out this has the latest update in it. I think I can get to that if I slide down on the screen, and there I have it on autofocus constant or continuous. That's a lighting setting, and that's for going if you want to use it underwater. I'm not going to mess with the Pro, and like I said, that's AFC, that's for continuous focus. AFS is for single, that's for like doing a picture. Alright, and that's just your mode, whether you have it 16:9 or a narrow frame. That's your only two choices. And then this lets you calibrate the gimbal again, shows your battery life, the tilt control, whether it's on or off, and how long it takes to power this off.
I know there's another setting in here somewhere that has to deal with, well, that's previous videos, but that has to deal with the status. Let me see if I can find that. Nope. Okay, let me just ignore that for the moment. I will say it has the latest update in it. So there's your functions. You have photo, come up one to video, slow motion, time lapse, and pano. Of course, that's a panographic picture. Now, if I go to video, it's kind of hard to get that to stay. I'm going to slide that to the left, and it'll let you set your different frames per second, your resolution, and that sort of thing. I'm not going to mess with that. Whoops. If you go to slow-mo again, you can set some parameters, and I'm not going to mess with that either. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Down here is your time lapse, and this is where you can do motion lapse or hyperlapse. And as I was doing earlier with the camera, if I wanted to set it to motion lapse, I have to click on this, and what happens is you pivot the head or the gimbal, and you have to click OK, and I'm going to pivot this, and I know I'm not really showing you the action here, but if I turn the screen, and I can go up or down wherever I want, and then hit the little plus button. Should be a little plus right there in the middle. I hit that. Oops. Okay, so it has the first point on the travel, and then I move to the second point, whatever that may be, and I hit the, and look, it says focusing failed. You see that? See, that's what I'm running into. This whole process is killing me. So I hit my second axis point, and then you can also set your parameters. So this says 3 seconds down here at the bottom. So I'm trying to look through both cameras that do this at the same time. If I want to change, there's the timers. I can do 3 seconds, 2 seconds, how long I want it to run. So let's just say I'm going to do this for 5 minutes. Now, of course, I'm not going to, it's not going to last 5 minutes, but I'll hit next, and then I hit the red button, right? And then it goes to that point. And it'll continue to take 2-second interval pictures, and it'll move through that, that range. So if I show you the head, you'll see a little bit of movement up there, and it's going to just kind of twitch and go through the sequence. I'm not going to waste your time with 5 minutes, but I'm going to let it go through the process, and then I will show you what the end results were for this particular little video. Okay, so that's the end of that little segment, and again, I will show you that video, but I want to show you something else that even when I attach my iPhone, I'm having some issues with how this thing operates. And to do that, again, I have to slide this off, and then I have a little rig that I'm going to put on here to support the iPhone and the Osmo. This is the little setup I'm going to use. The Osmo sits over here in this section, and then my iPhone attaches in this direction. It also has adjustable holes on the back side where you can slide it left and right as you feel necessary. It also has, of course, I have it mounted to my camera tripod right here, and I think that's the only mount point available. So, all right, now the way this works is I turn the Osmo on, and it will automatically detect, or should automatically detect, the iPhone. Find out here in just a second. There it is. Okay. So now I have control of the Osmo through the iPhone. So let me just pan in here a little bit. And again, I'm pointing out this whole process for me is I'm not the super high-end professional. I'm not these guys who have been given these little Osmos to do reviews on. I'm not looking for anything special out of it. I just want this thing to function. and that's where I'm getting really frustrated. But as far as functions go, down here it gives you whether your video format. There's your flicker rate, which I'm not going to mess with. You can put a grid on top of the panel or on your screen here, so if you wanted to box something into the grid, you could do that. I'm going to leave that off. And then in focus mode, you have this again, AFC or AFS, so you have control over that as well. I'm hoping you can see this okay. So there is that. So I click back on the screen, and over here on the right is this little, you can barely see it, and it might help if I had it aimed at something with a darker, there, maybe you can see that. There's a little, kind of like a compass index, to where you can move the Osmo. Here, let me do this. There. Now you can see that. So that gives you control over the gimbal. So I can take my thumb and grab that and rotate this, and you can see the gimbal moving. So that's kind of handy. I like that. And then I believe there's a self-center mode right here, just a little set of, I don't know what you call it, but you can see it right above the red button, which is for record, and all it does is center up the gimbal. Okay. And again, I'm trying to do this looking through my screen and looking at the camera. Over here on the right, you have different functions. You can slide up and down. So you have, this thing is called Story. I haven't played with that, but apparently you can kind of give a format to your video that you want to make. There's your pano, that's for doing a panographic shot. I'm not going to do that. Photo, self-explanatory. You hit the button and it's supposed to take a picture. Alright. Again, back to video mode. Again, you hit the little red button, it records, or you can hit, I think you do it either or, so I can hit the red button there, or I can hit the red button there. And it should be, whoops, there it is recording. When it's a little square. Alright, so stop that. Now, this is slow motion mode. I have not played with this. I'm not sure exactly how it does anything in particular, but let's just see what happens. I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to go on the other side of the camera and walk around a little bit. And I don't know what the effect is, but if you notice, that car hood is out of focus. And I'm not going to be able to really see this. Maybe I can turn my other camera around and I can see what's going on. So I'm over here. Now you get two of me in the screen, and again, I'm just waving my arms around, just showing you. I don't know what it's going to do, but I'll post this in with the video so that you can see as well. You know, whatever. I don't know. I'm running. I'm not running. Okay. So now you have some idea, maybe, of what the slow-mo feature does. And I'm going to go on the other side of the camera and walk around a little bit. And I don't know what the effect is, but if you notice, that car hood is out of focus. And I'm not going to be able to really see this. Maybe I can turn my other camera around and I can see what's going on. So I'm over here. I'm running. I'm not running. Okay. So now you have some idea, maybe, of what the slow-mo feature does. Okay. And I know this is going to be a drawn out video, but that's the way it is. Now I go to the next section, and that is time-lapse. Well, I've already kind of covered the time-lapse process. And, you know, when it works right, it's fantastic. But when it doesn't, So, but you'll notice there, it doesn't say motion lapse, right? It says time-lapse. If I come up here and I click and I do a drop down, see this little, it says path right there. So if I had a 2-second interval, 5-minute, and I click on path, now with the camera attached to my iPhone, I get more waypoints. So instead of having 1 and 2 in, you know, in a whatever pattern you want to make, you can click on, let's see, I move this thing, and I make that 1, and then I go down here, I make that 2, come over here and up, make that 3, and I can go all the way over here and down and show you the side of the 68 Camaro that I haven't finished. Okay, now again, if I hit the go button, it's going to do another time lapse. Now 5 minutes every 2 seconds, or in 2-second intervals. This is actually going to be a very fast time lapse. I'm going to let this thing go, and then I'll show you what this looks like when I'm finished, or when I make the video. Okay, so as you can see, I did some goofy stuff in there just to show you what it's trying to do, or what it should be doing, but I'm not sure if things are working the way they should be, but I really want them to be working right. Now this one says hyperlapse. I haven't researched that to see what it does yet, and that says easy use. Again, I haven't figured out what that really means yet. Over here you've got some other buttons, a little highlight home, and that takes you basically, I guess, to the DJI app. And what is this one? Oh, that's whether you're doing fast follow or slow follow or normal. And then this one changes how your camera will react. So if it has first person view, that's one option, so you can like be in front of it or move it around, and I guess it's just going to kind of stay to the front, you know what I mean? It's not really going to pivot around much. It's going to stay kind of a general direction forward. The follow mode, I think that's where it's supposed to follow whoever you're on. And then tilt locked, you can take this thing and you can actually move completely up and down, and the little gimbal head will turn and maintain that particular angle. So if I can pull this off and make it happen, let's see. Let me see if I can do this. I'll take it off, and I'm going to tilt this thing, right? But if you look on the screen, it kept the same image. It's kind of hard to show you, but it's not moving with it. So if I tilt it back, see how it's staying forward? It's keeping that car hood in its frame of focus the whole time. If I turn, it will turn left and right and stay on track, but the idea is you can go all the way down to the floor, or I guess as high as you can, and it'll maintain that kind of attitude, or whatever you want to call it. So that's really the gist of it. It does have this function here. This is, you can hit the little camera and it's going to turn around, and hey, it's finding my face. Cool. Hey, look, it worked that time. Surprise. So here I am behind my camera trying to milk. Oh, it lost me. See? Oh, there. Now it found me. So I can walk around and talk about the camera, or talk about whatever I want, and it's going to basically stay on my face. So it has some really cool features. I really think this is a great little camera. And as I get more and more frustrated with the idea of not being able to focus, when I do certain functions, I don't understand it. I really want this camera to work fantastic. I have so many visions of future videos of what I can do with this camera, but I can't take the chance on it being a blurry production. I got lucky when I did the car hinges on this Mustang over here. Nope, it lost me. Hello. Yep, see there? It lost me. So anyway, I got lucky when I did the car hinges because it did the motion lapse like I wanted, and it turned out fantastic. And I don't know why it's not tracking me. Let's see if I can trick it. Nope. It's not going to do it. It's going to stay right where it's at. Oh well. Let me see if I can change that back. And one more time. And it's looking for me. It's looking for something. Nope. And I don't know. I just don't know. Like I said, sometimes it's spot on, and sometimes, nope, there, found me this time. So again, I don't know. I'm frustrated, and like I said, I'm coming this close to smashing this thing. But I know it has something to do with the software or something. It's got to be something out of my control that's making it do these things. So okay, so that's going to be the end of this particular video. I can tell you that this Osmo has the latest firmware update, which is like 1.09.022 or something like that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know that's very close. It did update through the app that's on my phone, and I know that there's got to be something that either I'm missing something or there's some other problem with this thing that is just driving me crazy. I like things to function. I like them to work correctly the first time. I shouldn't be running around in circles trying to make this thing do what I want it to do. So if you have any comments that'll help me with this camera, please leave them below. And you know, if you're a subscriber to the channel, I thank you for being here. I thank you for watching this video and watching me lose my mind a little bit on this. But I thank you for being here. And if you're not a subscriber, I ask that you go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell button, and stay tuned to this channel because I do a variety of things on this channel. My other channel, Joe Daddy's Garage, is focused on cars, repair work, and classics and stuff like that. But this channel is going to continue to be different things, and it could be more on this Osmo. It could be more on another camera that I use, equipment that I use. So who knows? I'll just leave it at that and stay tuned. So again, that's the end of this video, and until next time, take care of yourselves. And got good, nope, it cuts nice, it rides nice, and so, yeah. I may have to hook my phone up to it. Copy.